Jesus Christ though, someone please get her a couple of cheeseburgers because she looks like a strong breeze would blow her away.
Everyone, it's Blue. Make sure you like and subscribe and go follow me on my Twitch where I live stream 3 times a week, and my Patreon where I have more content on there that I don't post here.
Well, after the lawyers got done going, hey, did you check out the blonde bimbo in the red mini?
That was me.
Today I'm going to be reacting to Critical Drinker Wicked. I can't believe I'm reviewing this movie.
As my mate Neil once famously said as he led us into that bar in Thailand, an experience that I'm still having therapy for to this day, sometimes it's good to try new things. I mean, it definitely wasn't in that case, let me tell you.
Oh, okay.
But it's a lesson that I've tried to apply to my reviewing career nonetheless. Hence the reason I'm sitting here talking about Wicked of all things.
Really?
I mean, it seemed only fair considering I made a pretty snarky video about the film's star and the potential box office fallout from her weird behaviour, but goofy social media meltdowns and insufferable press tours aside, seriously, what the hell are you guys even doing? I figured it was only right to separate the art from the artist here and give the movie a shot. And here's the funny thing, it's actually pretty good. I mean, there's a couple of big caveats to that for sure. If you're not a fan of musicals in general, or the Wicked stage show in particular, then I don't imagine there's much here that'll win you over.
Yeah, interesting that he is saying that it's good, but that is something that I do really like. It seems like he's always giving his genuine opinion. He's not just picking convenient movies or something to trash on. Especially Wicked, I feel like there's such a good opportunity to make fun of it because it's also on top of that a musical. So there's kind of a lot of things that people already tease it about, like the theater kid vibe is already heavily teased, I think, from a whole side of society. So there's just some easy shots that can be taken at it, especially with how all of their press and interviews went.
Imagine there's much here that'll win you over, but judging it on its own merits as a piece of musical theatre, I have to admit that Wicked is a pretty impressive production. The song and dance numbers are all faithfully ported over from the stage show, with the added flamboyance and effects you'd expect from a big Hollywood movie. The world of Oz, with all its vibrant colours, wacky architecture and outlandish technology, is brilliantly recreated on screen in a way we've never quite seen before. The cast all deliver solid and surprisingly heartfelt performances, including Ariana Grande, who I would have expected to be a weak link in something like this. In short, Wicked is a big, colourful, flamboyant, gloriously campy and over-the-top production in the best tradition of the Hollywood musical. It's definitely not for everyone, and at well over 2.5 hours long, it feels pretty sluggish and self-indulgent at times, but credit where credit's due. It's pretty entertaining for what it is. The film acts as a prequel for the events of The Wizard of Oz. Glinda, who will one day become the Good Witch of Oz, is a young woman just starting out at Shiz University. And in case you're wondering what that noise is, it's the sound of a dozen writers furiously typing up the script for the inevitable porn parody. Anyway, I digress.
I'm gonna stop there again. Wait, what? Yeah, okay. Also interesting going over it, can totally see without even seeing the movie that just because this movie's good doesn't mean that it is being sold or pushed to everybody. Oh, everyone's gonna like it. There might be a little bit more appreciation for people who have already seen the musical or grew up maybe a little bit more appreciating musicals in general, maybe theater kid. There might be a lot of different reasons why you would appreciate this movie more than others. Typical Marvel fan may find this movie, oh, this is a little bit over the top, too dramatic, too musically, but it's a musical, so it's not for everybody. But as far as musical goes, I have heard really good things about it, especially with how movies have been going kind of lately, and especially with how they kind of marketed it. A lot of people were making fun of how their interviews were really weird. A lot of people were really kind of rubbed the wrong way with how Cynthia freaked out and the reaction to the fan art poster being remade. So it's nice and a pleasant surprise to see that the movie can still perform well and get credit, and people can say, okay, never mind, the movie was good, and not just hate it because of bad press. Whereas with other movies, this does kind of prove, oh, people just don't like the actress, or people just hate how she acts as a person, and so now they're acting like the movie's bad just because they don't like her. No, this is actually a great example of how people can separate their opinion on the movie was good. We may still think that the actresses or actress is odd.
Anyway, I digress. Glinda's your typical popular girl archetype. Beautiful, shallow and self-absorbed, and well on her way to being the top of the social pyramid at Shiz. That is, until she's forced to share a room with Elphaba, a mysterious young woman who's been shunned and bullied her whole life because of her green skin. What the fuck? You live in a world with talking animals, magical sorcery, and emerald cities, and you're telling me you're freaked out by a human with different coloured skin? Jesus, I've had acid trips that make more sense than the average day for these people. Anyway, whatever. At first, the two of them are at loggerheads and do everything they can to make each other's lives miserable, but as time passes, they develop a kind of grudging respect that eventually blossoms into real friendship. And possibly more.
I'll do the fingering.
But the arrival of a dashing prince creates a love triangle that threatens to pull them apart, and lurking in the background is a shadowy plot to enslave all the animals of Oz so they can never talk again.
You serious?
Just go with it, okay? And because Elphaba starts to manifest magical powers, she's summoned by Jeff Goldblum to join him in the Emerald City. I mean, I think he's technically playing the Wizard of Oz, but I'm pretty sure the director just told him to be himself and then ran with it.
Also interesting. Unfortunately and very embarrassing, I don't fully remember the plot of Wicked, even though I've actually seen the musical. Fake fan. Also nice to hear that Ariana Grande did her own part in this, and even Critical Drinker kind of thought she'd probably be a weak link in a movie like this. Just knowing her maybe as not only a Nickelodeon or Disney actress or whatever, but also as, oh, it's just another singer artist trying to become actress, and she's clearly hired just because she's already famous, and people will see the movie just because they know Ariana Grande's name, not because she's a good actress. It's very nice to see that from interviews and what other people have said, she apparently has always wanted this role. It's like her dream role.
Anyway, Jeff Goldblum wants to use Elphaba's powers to cast actual magic spells because he's basically just a fraud who relies on smoke and mirrors to maintain the illusion that he's wise and powerful. And I'm sorry if that kind of ruins the story for you, but if you still haven't caught up on a plot point from a movie made in 1939, I don't know what to tell you, man. Needless to say, Elphaba declines his offer and ends up getting turned into a scapegoat and forced to go on the run. And that's where the movie ends, so that they can finish the story in part 2 and make even more money next time.
Son of a bitch!
And in terms of my criticisms, I think that's as good a place as any to start with this film. Remember how the Hobbit trilogy felt more stretched than Courtney Cox's face because it spun the material from a single short novel into 3 bloated and unnecessary movies? Well, it's kind of a similar problem here. I mean, it's definitely not as bad, but the film still chugs along at times to the point where you start to get kind of restless for the plot to get going again, and it ends on a weirdly abrupt and unsatisfying cliffhanger. The stage show told a complete story with a satisfying emotional payoff in less time than the length of this single movie, which only progresses as far as the intermission. And well, just like Tatiana, you do start to feel that extra length after a while. Musicals have a long tradition of being pretty campy and flamboyant, for obvious reasons, and Wicked is definitely no exception. Like, basically every character acts like a more hyperactive version of Associate Bob from Demolition Man, and whether that kind of thing gets on your nerves is likely to have a big impact on your enjoyment of the film. Performance-wise, I've got no issues to speak of. Cynthia Erivo does a great job as Elphaba, portraying a slightly more vulnerable and humorous version of the character than her serious, straight-laced counterpart on the stage. Michelle Yeoh makes hard work of most of her dialogue, and the director's smart enough to keep her singing to a minimum, which I think was a good call in retrospect. But it's Ariana Grande that really surprised me. Obviously, she's got no problem with the musical numbers, but she's also a natural in front of the camera, able to bring a surprising amount of depth and nuance to her performance. Jesus Christ though, someone please get her a couple of cheeseburgers because she looks like a strong breeze would blow her away.
One thing that also seems to have been mentioned is a few people had pointed out her makeup. Everything was really great about Galinda, but as you see in the theater productions, not only because you're on stage and you're on stage, makeup has to be very exaggerated because there's not a screen. You want people to see certain facial features from very far away, so there's a lot of contour, darker eyebrows are probably necessary, a really big one's blush. Some people pointed out Galinda in here just seems so pale, almost washed out. Maybe even some people complained a little sickly. I don't know if that could also be due to her clearly losing a bit of weight. I don't want to really go there, but I am pointing out that's the only complaint I really heard about her characters.
Anyway, the two women have really good chemistry together, and overall, I've got no issues with their work. Weirdly, I also didn't get a sense that the movie was trying too hard to preach to the audience. Yeah, there's a core theme of learning to accept people who are different, and the tragic hero who tries to fight back against the system, but those are pretty universal themes that anyone can relate to. to. Basically what I'm saying here is that unlike something like Barbie, I didn't get the sense that the filmmakers had a big political chip on their shoulder that they were trying to force on the audience. On that subject though, I think Wicked and Barbie do have one very important thing in common. They both understand their audience and how to appeal to them instead of trying to make some wishy-washy generic slop that doesn't really inspire anyone. And both seem to be making tons of money as a result, so good job. I don't imagine this film will appeal to many people in my audience, but I do think it's only fair to give it an honest review, and well, here it is. If you're into this kind of thing, or you're willing to go into it with an open mind, then Wicked will make all your dreams come true. And if not, it's probably best to save your money and go watch something else. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
Again, I really appreciate the honest review. Haven't seen it myself, so sometimes I feel stupid to react or watch some of these videos because I haven't seen it myself. I understand watching it if you haven't seen it because that's why you're watching him, but I'm commentating on it, so it just sometimes feels silly. But from what I've heard and also from what he's seen, I really like that he just gives his honest opinion, even though this movie seems like an easy one to take jabs at because it's probably looked at already inherently a bit silly because it's theater, musical, yeah. That's already like, wow, that's really exaggerated, very pick-me, and it's like, well, that's what it's supposed to be. Even if you don't really like the actors or actresses, it's really important that they at least do the role justice, which it seems like that's what everybody universally is so far saying for the most part. Cynthia is clearly really passionate about her character. Ariana was really passionate about her character. It sounds like it was a dream role for a really long time. I'll take care of her. I'll make sure that it doesn't become Ariana Grande's show with the music, like keep it to Glinda and a little bit more theatrical. And it just seems like they both really took care of their roles and really cared about also chemistry. The chemistry is really important. It would be very odd if two actors or actresses in real life didn't like each other. You can clearly tell, even if people are making fun of, wow, they're really close. Is there something going on? Even if that's a thing, okay, well, it's a good thing that whatever you think is happening. Even if they're just close. No, I think that they're just really close because they've been working on this movie for 3 years and they're both really passionate about it. Maybe they're also really emotional. So on top of that, they're just really there for each other. They've clearly bonded over it. If you haven't already, make sure you check out Critical Drinkers video because it's the one that's more relevant in the video. And if you haven't already, also like and subscribe to my channel and check out all my links. And I'll see you all next time. Thank you for watching.